Morty, be sure to pee before we go. This adventure's gonna be a long haul, and I don't feel like emptying the jug.
While the pee will return momentarily, it and the jug are ultimately red herrings that exist only to set up a rather unfunny centipede who eats urine joke later. So you're getting 2 sins, Rick and Morty, for pissing all over my valuable time.
I made your atomic matrix slightly lighter than air, and now your shoes are heavier than air, which makes you neutrally buoyant, which I find personally more impressive, conceptually, than walking on water. But what do I know? I wasn't born into the god business.
I guess Rick's proclamations on his godliness make this decision and the resulting hijinks the product of his hubris. But that won't stop me from pointing out that Rick's magic does whatever the plot needs pistol probably could and should have been able to make Jerry neutrally buoyant without his shoes.
What, you think the centipede wants to eat your pee?
Since matter can be neither created nor destroyed, I have to ask, where does the pee go when it's inside the centipede? I mean, even if it evaporated or some shit, that still seems less pleasant than just peeing in the jug you've written out of the story for some reason.
You young people think space is like Saturday Night Live. You see it every day, so you dream of being in it.
So then it's nothing like Saturday Night Live, because it's not on every day, and I'm pretty sure whichever generation is currently being accused of lacking work ethic has never seen it.
Literally everything is out here, and unlike everywhere else, I'm too busy to help you.
Never mind the fact that he does end up helping Morty after he gets bitten by the space snake. I'm more concerned that the writers think changing a space tire requires more concentration than toppling a galactic federation, seducing a hive mind, or fixing a fragmented space-time, which you coincidentally also broke.
Morty's starting to look like a 90s Japanese ghost.
I'm not going to send Rick trying to flex his knowledge of Ringu, but I'm more than willing to call him out for not knowing that Ju-on the Grudge came out in the aughts.
Imagine being a racist snake. Hey, other snake, I hate you because you're the wrong color snake.
I had a hearty laugh when I realized how easy it is to replace the word snake in this statement with the word human. Then I cried because, frankly, it's sad that a lot of humans have yet to learn such a simple lesson. But then I laughed again because conceptually a racist snake is just funny. Then I cried again because conceptually a racist human is not funny. So take your sin back so we can get back to laughing. But also, this snake parade is traveling in a straight line, spitting right in the face of the slithering snake aesthetic that has abandoned aerodynamic efficiency for the sake of these wobbly snake rockets.
I can't be the reason why 19 billion snakes lost all hope.
Using Morty's guilt as a reason for him to do some questionable things with a snake sure is a weird way to get the story rolling, especially when you consider how many people he killed in episode 1 of this season and how little he cared about the hope he robbed from those families. I don't know which red soda this is, but without naming names, I drank one of them several years ago after walking 5 miles in the hot Texas sun and then proceeded to vomit furiously. Never been able to forget the uniquely potent flavors of its ingress and subsequent egress, and the sight of red fluids has continued to haunt my waking life. So, as far as I'm concerned, they're all a sin. Morty, suddenly not being smart enough to know that when this snake sheds, the temporary tattoos will likely go with it, is slightly less concerning than the overt speciesism he displays by thinking one snake could be so easily replaced with another. That'd be like me showing up at your Thanksgiving dinner with a matching Team Edward tattoo and acting like I didn't regret getting it. Your family would see right through it.
Everyone has a plumbus in their home.
Writers think they can milk this plumbus every time they need a quick laugh. This snake is somehow now wearing the space snake suit properly, even though earlier Morty was shoving it into the suit face first. If it doesn't work for sleeping bags, it shouldn't work for this. The next 2 minutes of this show will be supercuts of snakes doing the same things humans do with the same things humans would use to do them because it's funny to anthropomorphize animals, especially when it makes no sense evolutionarily. But unfortunately, the funniness of the SS doesn't negate the sinniness of the logic. To be fair, newscasts involving humans are no more interesting than this.
Downbeat.
How do you win this f***ing game?
We've never gotten that far.
Rick spending time with his grandkids in a scenario that doesn't involve putting their lives at risk makes me question everything about this scene. Like, is this a simulation? I mean, are they a simulation? Not, am I a simulation? I am 100% certain that I am real.
Jerry, I paused Beth with a device Christopher Walken gave me after a record session.
Taking the long way around saying remote just so you can make a reference to an Adam Sandler vehicle from the mid-2000s. Thinking this is a better name for a bar than Devil's Protuberance of the Mammary Gland upon which the lactiferous ducts open and milk is drawn. Just rolls off the tongue, right?
One Diet Sprite remix, please. And, is anyone here an Uber driver?
Jerry. The obvious pool table light not being over the actual pool table.
And frankly, your bar has a lot of ceiling fans.
Jerry brings up an interesting point here that honestly isn't addressed enough in this world. When you over ceiling fan your bar, you're just asking for trouble. Whether it's a man who brings in a boulder one day because he claims he will float without it, or it's Davey having one too many shots at Tito's and then deciding to see how many pool cues he can jam in all the fans. Bad things will happen. Things you'll never be able to unsee. Just say no to over ceiling fanning. You will thank us.
Summer, how soup's shook am I by your playlisting fleekness tonight?
Writers thought my chuggy ass would be high-key stressed by the vibe, but Summer's squad is just being extra, and that's super sus. So bye, Felicia, I think.
My little brother got bit by a snake in outer space and killed it with a hubcap. Can you alter the course of a species' evolution like that without repercussion?
Saying that Morty altered the course makes it sound like there was a predetermined destination, when what happened was more akin to an unintentional participation in their evolution. I'd say an encounter with a new species that results in death is very much in line with the principles of natural selection. In this case, the snake literally bit off more than it could chew, and as a result, they were not selected for the next round of the tournament.
Get behind me. I will protect.
Beth was right there watching the creepy Snake Man's Judgment Day sales pitch.
Aliens, I am a robot sent back in time by the Snake Resistance to protect you from Serpicore.
So her reaction here is more comedic than logic-ic. Rick pulp fictioning Morty back to life in the middle of crossfire from time-traveling snakes seems much harder than helping Morty deal with one snake while changing a tire. But for reasons, Rick seems much less angered here than he was during the cold open.
The war between snake and machine.
Snakeration 2, Judgment Snake. How exactly were they able to get a picture of Morty? Even if the snake was able to describe how he looked, this attention to detail is insane. I know we've gone over this so many times, but you can't just write the present and expect us to know what that means. Does that mean 2019 present? Because that's not the f***ing present for me.
Get behind me. Your brood will seed all life on this planet. That doesn't make sense.
I don't care if it doesn't make any sense. The deceitful way that Morty brought this Earth snake to Snake Earth makes this seeding of a planet more problematic than the weird sacrifice at the beginning of Prometheus. I can't get reception at my dentist, but Jerry can make a phone call thousands of feet in the air. Jerry almost never hits his target outside of the bedroom, so this working is just as much bullshit as Jerry not being immediately killed by the impact. Also, the depth of this pocket and this phone not falling out of it.
I don't suppose you guys will take a bribe?
Attempting to bribe a snake officer of the law.
Anyone else want legs?
The results of this literal and drastic intervention in the biology of snake kind don't play a bigger role in the snake evolution of this episode. It's just 1985, but with snakes. You know, kind of like 1952 with meerkats, but not so much like 1976 with possums. That one was a disaster. Also, show wants me to believe that Massachusetts is a phase that all pre-warp civilizations must go through.
That book has everything they need to create snake time travel, and they're getting it in 1985, snake time.
The existence of this book tells me that the writers are aware that I'm aware that they're aware that I'm aware. What the f*** was that? Ah, shit. Forgot I left Narrato bot running. How long did I leave this thing on? Wow, he sure have been watching a lot of Rick and Morty. Looks like he was right in the middle of sinning. Well, I guess I shouldn't leave this episode unfinished. Well, let me see where he's okay. What was he trying when he was sitting here? Look, I don't know. I don't know what he was doing here. I'm just going to go with something about some convenient 1980s time travel bullshit cliche. Snakerham Lincoln survives this. Not that I wanted Snakerham Lincoln to not survive this, but why is Snake Lincoln so ready to accept time travel that he immediately reads this note instead of being more concerned about what just happened to the well-dressed man from the 80s? Snake Hitler not using a shower curtain, but mostly just being a Snake Hitler.
Just have to keep my grip.
Jerry says as he's holding on to the outside of a plane, likely traveling at something around 600 miles per hour. Writers, if you're gonna do this kind of we're eventually gonna need a Jerry as an immortal super being episode to explain it. If that ever happens, we promise we'll give this sin back. Since British Airways once flew a 747 from LA to the UK on 3 engines, I'm going to say that Jerry causing what I imagine to be the first ever snake strike should have been a cause for concern, yes, but not nearly the catastrophic event that the show wants me to believe it was. Also, no matter how many times I watch this, I continue to see a rocket-powered alligator that suffered the loss of 2 legs, and not a rocket-powered snake that has suffered the growth of 2 arms.
It's pandemonium out there!
Morty being a snake-demonious hisshole. Somehow during all this hacking and slashing, Summer's clothes stay clean. How is the blood physics of this scene just as silly as Kill Bill, but in the opposite direction?
Nobody chokes me without consent!
Summer would be 50 Shades of Great at TVSins.
Also, that's about as much curvature as you're gonna get from a time travel story.
Josh Futterman has entered the chat.
Have fun snowing those snake costumes together, you little tramp!
Wait, did Morty say snowing instead of sewing? Cindy, run that one back again.
Have fun snowing!
Okay, one more time, a little bit slower.
Have fun snowing.
In Christmas episodes.
Everybody strap in. We're about to open some windows.
That book has everything they need to create snake time travel, and they're getting it in 1985, snake time.
The existence of this book tells me that the writers are aware that I'm aware that they're aware that I'm aware. Yes, in this video, I revealed that I built a robot to do the sinning for shows I'd rather skip, and this silly attempt at retconning my powers in the Cineverse was definitely a one-off gag that will never, ever happen again.
But what do I know? I wasn't born into the God business.
I am God.
I'm dying, Rick.
I think I'm dying here, man. My mom and dad are gonna be so mad.
Can you recognize the sound of a man's pants filling up with rain?
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Merry Christmas, bitch.
I'm in a glass case of emotion.
What the hell?
Put that thing away now. I don't want to tell you again.
Snakes. Time travel.
I'm starving.
I couldn't hear you over my own screaming. We've talked about this.
Can you Photoshop your life with better decisions, Jerry?